Today we come together to reflect on a journey that began 50 years ago. I'm Kaylee Zeisel, Director of Transfort, our city's transit system. For decades, Fort Collins was small enough that residents could walk anywhere. As the city grew, so did the need for transportation. Our public transit history stretches back to the late 1800s, when regional rail systems brought some of the first residents to the area. In those early days, getting around was simple. Most people walked. For those with more to carry or longer distances to travel, options included horses, horse-drawn wagons, or even bicycles. But as the city expanded on Mountain and College Avenues, walking became less feasible. By the late 1800s, major cities adopted electric streetcars, and in 1907, during one of our early growth booms, Fort Collins followed with a small streetcar network established by the Denver Interurban Railway. In 1918, the city took over operations, running the Fort Collins Municipal Railway for over 30 years. These iconic trolleys not only served as transportation, but also symbolized the city's growth and innovation. However, with the rise of gas-powered cars, trolley ridership declined, leading to the service's closure in 1951. Then, in the early 1970s, as Fort Collins grew to around 43,000 residents, city planners recognized the need for a municipal transit system. On July 1st, 1974, our modern public transit system was born, funded by a voter-approved 1-cent city sales tax. That same year, the city partnered with Caravan, a door-to-door service to support the elderly and people with disabilities alongside the bus network, a service that later became Transfort's Dial-A-Ride. From its humble beginnings to its essential role in the daily lives of Fort Collins commuters today, our transit system has become a symbol of vibrant growth, connecting people, places, and possibilities in our community. Back then, as today, our fledgling bus system had its pioneers, whether or not they knew it. Jean Malchow was one of Transfort's very first bus operators.
Back in 1974, I was a student at CSU and I was going into my junior year. And I saw an ad for the bus driver job because they were starting up a bus system. And so I applied and was called in for an interview. But it happened to be the entire city council in council chambers, and I was quite embarrassed and intimidated. They asked me regular questions that they would anybody looking for a job, but they did have a trick question about the spark plug. What would I do if I had a problem with it? And I told them that since it was a diesel engine and they don't have spark plugs, I wouldn't do anything.
And with that, Jean was hired to operate these first diesel vehicles, which made up the city's entire fleet in 1974. 3 16-passenger Mercedes-Benz buses, each costing $24,000. Designed in vibrant yellow and orange, these buses prominently displayed the word Transfort on the side, cleverly branding them as the transportation solution for Fort Collins. Service began with 3 routes. The buses lined up at Oak Street Plaza and traveled as far south as the Foothills Fashion Mall. The first day saw an estimated 1,600 passengers. Just a few short weeks later, on July 22nd, the city added a 4th bus to the system to use as a backup after one of the Mercedes-Benz buses broke down on the second day of service and a school bus was used to replace it.
One of the things that is nostalgic for me in Oak Street Plaza is behind me is where the buses would pull up and people would change buses or go their separate ways and all the buses would meet up. And I was usually the lunchtime driver, so I would just meet all the buses here rather than at a garage or someplace else.
It's hard to imagine this was the hub for all the city's buses, and back then, these routes were quite limited compared to today, but folks didn't mind as it was so new. To put it in perspective, the 23-year gap in public mass transit between streetcars and buses was finally over.
Back then, the bus system was brand new, and everyone was so excited to have a system that they could ride and they could get places easily, and it was free for a long time. After a while, it cost a quarter. When I was driving, the bus system didn't have anything other than paper to let you know where to get on, off, where the routes went. The schedules were on little pamphlets, trifold pamphlets, and they were where Oak Street Plaza is now, where the buses all congregated.
During Jean's tenure with Transfort, it seemed those simple routes met the transit needs of a lot of Fort Collins residents. For years that followed, the transit system evolved slowly, adding buses and routes as needed. Michael Nuckenchuk, a current transit supervisor, has worked for Transfort for 34 years and recalls those early days.
In 1982, when I first came here, the transit system was a lot different than it is today. There were a lot fewer buses. They were smaller. We had 3 Mercedes buses. We had 2 big GMC 40-footers, and we had limited coverage of the city, as you might imagine, with that number of vehicles. Our working staff was maybe 22 people. We didn't have any Sunday coverage. We didn't have anything really much in the way of evening coverage, and a lot fewer routes. A working day at Transfort driving was pretty relaxing. The traffic wasn't as heavy. The population wasn't as large as it is now. We had small town community connectedness with our passengers. People seemed to go out and ride the buses fairly often for recreation. A lot of our riders were retired farmers, and they'd ride around with us and explain what this looked like here, what this looked like there. But we served the need and provided the service at that time as best we could.
The buses were so small that when someone wanted to get off, all they had to do was say, "I want to get off at the next stop." Or they would tell me when they got on that they wanted to go to such and such, or they were going to the mall, or they were going to Remington Arms, or someplace that I knew that I was going to be stopping there anyway. But they would let me know, and that I would remember.
Other systems were equally simple by today's standards. Ridership was tracked manually with hash marks on paper years before computerized systems were available. Over time, these handwritten records evolved to using keypads for recording passenger counts. Today, automatic counters at the doors capture the number of people boarding and exiting, providing real-time insights into ridership patterns. Michael remembers in the 1980s, the fare was 25 cents for a single ride and 15 cents for seniors and children. Exact change had to be dropped in the fare box, which would break down periodically. Drivers occasionally had to improvise.
We had, our fare boxes weren't working really well, and so we had metal lunch boxes on the floor of the bus where we would have people drop their fares. And that didn't seem to be any danger or allure for people to come and steal money or anything like that. It was a very tight-knit, friendly, social community. And then at night when we would be taking our buses back, we'd drive by City Hall at 300 LaPorte Avenue, and they had a vault in there, and we would latch up our lunch boxes and go in and put the lunch boxes in the vault.
Today, the fares and fare boxes are gone, and the entire transport system is free, providing equitable access to everyone. Also, modern handheld technology has made it easier for passengers to plan their trip, check bus arrival times, and view route schedules. With tools like our website, ridetransfort.com, and the Ride Transfort app, passengers can find schedules online and access real-time information to track their bus en route. This journey into the digital age marks a significant step in making public transit more user-friendly and efficient. The 10 years that followed the launch of Transfort was a time of growth. Ridership increased and we added more routes and more buses. This meant we needed a home for bus storage and maintenance. So, in 1984, the city opened the Transfort Maintenance Facility on Portner Road, then surrounded by farmland 8 miles south of downtown Fort Collins. Today, this facility serves as the hub for our operations team and dispatch center, and it provides secure storage for the bus fleet when not in service.
The building out on Portner was built in 1984, and it doesn't look like it did now as it did then. And we changed our whole office space. So they wanted to redesign the interior of this building. And to do so, we had to have someplace else to work, and there was nowhere to move us and continue operations except here. So we rented a semi-tractor trailer truck, parked it into the garage, and we were working out of there with all our office desks, and we were in there for 5 or 6 months. But it was worth it, because now we have this nice dispatch center, and we have an office space. It's a lot nicer. But that was a fun time to come to work and report to a truck trailer.
A dedicated facility for Transfort's fleet maintenance, dispatch, and operations was vital for system growth. Today, dispatch serves as the hub for bus support and communication, using multiple screens to relay real-time route information to operators and supervisors via a bus tracker system. With 53 buses in the fleet, routine maintenance is essential, including common repairs like light bulb and tire replacements. Mechanics work daily, servicing buses every 7,000 miles and testing oil at every service. All this in support of our growing city, whose transit system is growing too. The numbers say it all. From its humble beginnings in 1974, our system has grown to over 20 routes with approximately 11,000 riders every day.
As the city has grown, we've grown. We've worked hard to keep up and improve our services. We've added more routes and increased frequency, and we're proud to say we're moving in the right direction. One of our largest groups of riders is the CSU student population, and we have several routes that start and end at CSU, and we're happy to serve them. The campus transit center used to be by the library on University Avenue, but now we have a great new facility at the Laurie Student Center. We truly appreciate our ongoing partnership with the university, and we look forward to continuing to support the students and the staff.
With a new maintenance facility up and running, more buses and more routes added, Transfort responded to the transit needs of the city. The 1990s marked a period of significant growth for Transfort. In 1996, bike racks were added to buses, allowing passengers to combine different modes of travel. The following year saw the introduction of expanded routes in the Foxtrot service, the city's first regional route, connecting Fort Collins to Loveland. Building partnerships with neighboring municipalities along the Front Range was crucial for Transfort, paving the way for broader service options. Foxtrot later evolved into Flex, extending service to Berthoud, Longmont, and Boulder. Busting, operated by the Colorado Department of Transportation, now connects Transfort's downtown transit center and the Harmony Park and Ride at I-25 to Denver's Union Station. The Pooter Express, operated by Greeley Evans Transit, offers service between Fort Collins and Greeley with stops in Windsor. These collaborations have re-established intercity service in the region, which had been absent since the 1940s with the phase-out of passenger trains. A great example of problem-solving our city's growing pains of increased traffic was the birth of MAX. It was designed to circumvent congestion on College Avenue, the city's main north-south corridor.
We have new riders every year, every month, every week, probably every day, who do not realize that MAX is actually part of Transfort. They think it's a completely different service. So it's fun to inform them that it is part of us, part of the city operation. And the MAX has impacted a lot of people. We used to run Route 1 up and down College Avenue. We had more stops, so it might have provided more service that way, but we were also on a state highway, and we would get stuck in traffic. Well, a lot of that is gone now with the MAX. We're more direct, we're quicker, and people think it's absolutely fascinating that we can drive a 60-foot bus that bends in the middle.
Launched in 2014, MAX is Transfort's first bus rapid transit, or BRT, route featuring 60-foot buses that can hold up to 100 passengers seated and standing. MAX follows a dedicated transit-only guideway in mixed-traffic streets, connecting the South Transit Center to downtown. A convenient travel route along one of the city's busiest north-south corridors, MAX has become a model for future BRT routes. What's more, MAX and the entire fleet of Transfort buses has transitioned to compressed natural gas, reducing both ozone and CO2 pollutants. In 2022, Transfort purchased the first 2 battery electric buses. As Fort Collins and other cities are eyeing a future that greatly reduces greenhouse emitting CO2 gases, electric buses represent steps toward an emission-free public transit system. Plans for additional electric buses and charging stations are funded through a variety of state and federal grants. 50 years later, Transfort is still innovating and in some ways is returning to the all-electric streetcars it eventually replaced. Over the years, we've changed our branding as well, transitioning from the original Mercedes buses with yellow and orange stripes to white buses with orange, blue, and purple stripes, to today's green and blue buses. What hasn't changed has been the need for people to continue to rely on public transit to connect with community celebrations. The 4th of July, CSU football games, and Taste of Fort Collins are several of many community events that Transfort plays a vital role in providing shuttles or extended service for.
One of our buses that we use for social events is our bus number 19, one of our Bluebirds. Bluebirds were the first 35-foot buses that we bought. They were brand new, they had wonderful lifts at the front door. We were quite excited about it. They've all aged out now, but we retained the bus number 19 as a memorabilia showcase bus to take out for events, grand openings, parades and such. And it's really quite a eye-catcher. People like to reminisce about it, and the people that used to ride with us then really reminisce about these old buses and how they loved them. And it has our old color scheme on it, which was blue, orange, and purple. As you can see from the bus behind me, we've changed to blue and green. I'm not sure what brought that change about. I think we had a supervisor who was in on the decision, who was a real Seattle Seahawks fan.
As we've seen, transit riders in Fort Collins take many forms: attending events, shopping, commuting to work, to school, or even medical appointments, and everywhere in between. Transfort not only serves individual needs, it's a network for the entire community, promoting independence and inclusion for all. Our commitment to connecting people with opportunity, community, and each other has only strengthened over time. For many riders relying on bus transit for daily independence, especially those with disabilities, the journey is more than just a ride. It's a gateway to accessibility. Every bus in Transfort's fleet is accessible and has designated seating for individuals with disabilities.
So in 2013, I started using my wheelchair for more secure safety, just with commuting, because I don't have independent balance. So I knew that having the wheelchair would allow for me to be able to meet more bus routes, like at further distances, and not have to walk that full way to get to them. I do use Dial-A-Ride quite a bit and appreciate them, but just knowing that that was as a second option was really exciting. And at that time, I had just transferred into CSU to finish my degree, and I knew that I could meet the MAX at the Harmony stop and go directly to campus in one straight shot. And I always tell people, between Transfort and Dial-A-Ride itself, you can usually get anywhere that you need to within 15 minutes.
In my own journey with Transfort, I've seen firsthand how dedicated our team is to providing reliable, safe, and sustainable transportation. My role as director has given me a front row seat to the efforts of so many who keep our system running. From operators and dispatchers to planners and managers, their passion and dedication are what fuel Transfort, ensuring that we can continue to serve our community with excellence. And what makes Mandy's and many others' experiences so positive are our frontline employees, bus operators. They're more than just drivers, they are travel ambassadors with diverse responsibilities. In addition to providing excellent customer service, they monitor road conditions, operate lifts, ramps, and kneeling mechanisms to ensure a safe and comfortable experience for passengers of all abilities.
What I would like members of the public to know is without their ridership, we don't have a job. So they're very important to us. They're the most important people we have in our workday. So we strive very hard to make them happy, satisfy their needs, and calm their concerns.
I use Transfort and Dial-A-Ride most of my life. Most of the drivers have seen me and my siblings grow up. And I think that that's the coolest thing because they do remember me from like 5 years old, 10 years old, 17, 25. But it's a really neat bond, and you get to just asking how your day is and that they're excited for you, seeing where you're going, knowing that you've hit milestones. Like when I was going to CSU, a lot of the drivers were just like, oh, this is so awesome for you. And just to see like how proud they are to see, especially individuals with disabilities, like out and about living their lives too, and that they get to be an asset to that, to provide that for them. So.
Over the years that I've worked here, I've been absolutely amazed by the quality of people who come here to drive a bus. I don't think anybody ever on career days tells their parents, Mom, Dad, I want to be a bus driver. But we all come here for some reasons, working towards that one goal of providing safe customer service and good daily rides.
Thank you.
Reliable and safe transportation allows people to live their lives more easily. And as we've seen for bus operators, this means playing a vital role in supporting the community, meeting the city's equity, climate action, and financial sustainability goals, and making a meaningful impact on the lives of those they serve, while also impacting their own lives.
Transfort is everywhere, so there was always something for the security of that, knowing that we could, as individuals with disabilities, still live our lives just as much as anyone else. And I mean, it really allows for that, like whether I want to go to the mall one day or to the movies or to make it to work or volunteering that I do, just always there for you.
Since the time that I drove, things have changed a lot. The buses are different, they're much bigger, they're more environmentally friendly, and the way we find out about the routes is different. There's many more routes, it's more involved in the campus as well, and there's just so many things that are different, but it still provides a way for people to get around, to get to the things that they need to, and it's more environmentally safe than driving all those cars. And it provides a way for people to connect with each other.
A transit system is only as valuable as the people who bring it to life. From drivers to dispatchers, each person ensures that buses run smoothly and reliably. It's their dedication that transforms simple routes into essential lifelines, connecting communities and enriching the lives of everyone they serve. As we look to the future, improved routes, clean air technology, easier rider access, and free fares, public transportation has never been more accessible. Transfort's success stems from its dedicated staff and passengers, while transit centers have evolved into vibrant community hubs, hosting public art, music, tours, and cultural events. Transfort is more than just a way to travel. It's a lifeline that supports our local economy, promotes sustainability, and enhances quality of life for all residents. As we celebrate 50 years of service, we look forward to a future filled with promise and innovation.